Ready? Alright, welcome back to Chat with Tessa, everyone. It's your favorite Tsonga girl, Jane's daughter, coming to you live on YouTube. I missed you guys. I actually missed being in front of the camera. I haven't been for the past 2 weeks. Came back from holiday, needed to just come back and settle down, do the laundry because I was gone for so long, wash the clothes, get back to work. Hey, quick life update actually. And then Basjeluti, now we are quarantined because of COVID cases in our city, and last week was just chaotic, so I couldn't even bring my brains and my energy to be in front of the camera. But you know what, the content always calls. If there's something that you needed to do that you're not doing, it will always be here and here. It doof doof ting ting. I don't know what sound does the brain make. But it called me. I got dressed up and put on the makeup while I'm watching something on Netflix, and then decided I'll come and I'll be here and I'll bring the content. But I was like, let me arrive as Miss Valentine, Mrs. Valentine. It's the month of love, so I'm like, let me just also look like love. Oh gosh, I'm speaking as if you guys are like right in front of me, but this is me recording. Is today actually the 19th? Is it? I think it is. If it's not, well, I'm recording on, is it the 19th? I don't know, but I'm recording today. I'll edit today. I'll deliver today. I'm gonna be that girl. And since I'm under quarantine, so surely I'm gonna have more time to plan, strategize, record, respond to DMs and comments. So what is the 4 of 4? I need to 4 out of 4. Number 1, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for helping grow the channel so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being a subscriber. So please look there and see, have you subscribed? And if you haven't, it's honestly free. Mahala. Nowhere do you need to pay. Okay, just click subscribe. And then number 2, hit the like button. I know there's something that you like, even if it's not the information, even if it's not me, there's something. Tanda ma Rosie, Tandi Lighty, Tandani. What do you like? Hit the like. And then number 3, comment. Write something, okay? Something. Write something. Yancel nakombela asagleef. And number 4, share it with your community, guys. Your community, once again, are your friends, your family, people you work with, people that are around you. You can always help to build their knowledge and help develop them as well by sharing information. The same way that I'm sharing now with you, because you guys are the community, okay? All right, let's get into it. Oh, let me go fetch my receipts and my notes. Mine is receipts, like proof of information. Let me get my proof of information and my notes. Today's video is about the whole home purchasing process. I know that I have shared some of like a bit here and there in previous videos about my journey and what I have learned, and how when I went in, there was nobody there to guide me per se. Like my mom did have some experience, but when somebody's telling you something and you have no information about it, it's like, okay. So hopefully when you are purchasing your property, or whether it's your second or your first or whatever, this will help you understand the process a little better, so that when your lawyer or your bond originator or the bank, when they make mention of anything, you're like, oh, I know about this. But when you have no knowledge about something, you just agree, agree, just like a yabru, just saying yes to things and signing things that you have no idea or clue what you're signing. When they're asking you for things, you're like, again, didn't this one ask for it last week? Didn't that one ask for it last week? Hey, why are you asking for it again? You guys are too much now. But at least if you understand the process and you understand the documentation that is required throughout the process, and you're like, oh yeah, I know. Okay, let me be patient. Tumela Lona, send it to this one, send it to that one, and so forth. Okay. By the way, guys, how many of you are watching this and are actually in the process of purchasing your first property, or second or third or fourth or fifth? Ooh. Yeah, how many of you are actually in the process of purchasing your property? And yeah, how many of you have this as like a goal in the next 1 year, 2 years, and so forth? It would be nice to know. Obviously, when you begin this process, you are like, okay, I want to buy a house. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna hit the property sites, or you've seen something somewhere and you're like, I want a house. So I think the first thing for me is the why. The why do you want to buy a house? Okay, do you want a house because you want to go live in it? Do you want property because you want to turn it into a rental and make money out of it? What's the reason? Why do you want to buy a house, right? And then that will sort of determine, okay, kuri means uguti in Tsonga, or like in English, what is it? Uguti. That, yeah, that. So when I say kuri, it means that, but it's in Tsonga. Yeah. So that will help you determine kuri ulaba. Do you want to buy like a 2-bedroom apartment, or 1-bedroom apartment, or an actual house? What it is that you actually want based on your needs. And the other thing that also can determine what you can get is your income, your affordability, and your credit worthiness, right? Affordability, what you can afford based on your income, and maybe the other credit that you might have, all the other credit or debt. Can we call it credit, or can we call it debt? Can we use those words interchangeably? I don't know. Anyone who knows better, please let us know. So if you have other skolotos that you have, maybe your affordability might change, even though you have a high salary, for example, right? And then like your credit score, like, where's that sitting at? Maybe even if you earn a lot but your credit score is not good, you might not be able to get that house that you want. So I say start with the why, and then from the why we move to the where. I know where I want to live in South Africa when I come back. I already have a neighborhood in mind. I already have an area in mind. So I know that my third property will definitely be the personal property where I want to stay. So I know the why. The why is because I'm going to come back home and I want to have my own place to stay. And I want that place to still have enough space for my YouTube studio. I want that place to have maybe an extra bedroom also for all my cousins and aunties and family and friends that are gonna come and visit. I want that place to have a bedroom for me. So that's like 3 rooms, or 2 bedrooms and 1 office space, or something like that. Obviously lounge, sitting area, whatever. But I know that at least minimum 2 bedroom with an office space where I can still create content and stuff. And I know that the neighborhood for me needs to be somewhere where it's convenient, close to a supermarket or shopping mall or whatever, somewhere where I can even walk or because I'm active, I like running, I like those sort of things. So I know the kind of lifestyle that I want to have and how I want to live, right? And then the how much part is the one that I've been struggling with, because I'm like looking at all these requirements that I have and I'm like, I can't afford this. These houses, these apartments, I cannot afford this. So maybe I might have to wait a little longer, or maybe I'll have to be more realistic. And also, I've got the second property coming underway, so maybe I'll have to wait for a very long time. It's okay. Guzalunga. So the why, the where, the when, and the how much, I know where, I know when, and I know why. I'm not going to tell you guys when. It must be a surprise. So at least y'all know now that there's something to look forward to hearing about on Chat with Dissa, about when does Dissa come back to the motherland, and how. I won't tell you guys where I stay. I'm a surprise visit. Okay, no, we can have a housewarming party maybe, ne? Anyway, so the first step, like in the previous video, I spoke about bond originators and why you should use a bond originator, right? Bond originators, honestly, if you have a good bond originator, they can really make this process very simple for you, and it can be educational, because if they're patient enough, they will also educate you about the process. So the first step, finding a good bond originator, which will then help you to apply at different banks. So before even applying, you can get a pre-approval from the bond originator. So you get your pre-approval, and your pre-approval can sort of be that confidence of, okay, I have a pre-approval, this is how much I qualify for, and etc. And even with property agents or sellers, they'll be like taking you more seriously because you're someone who actually would possibly qualify for a home loan, because they're seeing that you actually do have a pre-approval. So you can get a pre-approval from your bond originator for free. You don't have to pay anything. Anyone who's asking you for monies beforehand, So your bond originator can also help you with like your affordability and credit worthiness, because you'll be disclosing a lot about your finances with them, and they'll also be able to run that credit check and check, okay, this person, this is where you stand. And realistically, it can actually save you time, because now you know, okay, you can't be looking at houses that are 4 million, 5 million, 3 million, 1 million, who knows, because you've done the pre-approval, you've done the credit check and so forth with your bond originator. So they're kind of giving you an idea, okay, this is where you can sort of look in this range. So that's the second step. I'll actually put it as the second step, after you've done your own reflecting about the why, where, when, and then your bond originator can sort of help you with that how much aspect when you are doing the pre-approval and so forth, right? Now, you then need to go and look for property. You can look for property online, you can visit different property websites to go look for property, or you can just drive around the neighborhood that you want to maybe live in or buy from, and you might see a for sale sign with contact details of an agent. And even if you do look online and you find property online, I strongly suggest that you still go there and have a look at the property. And if, for example, like me, you are abroad and you're not in South Africa, have somebody that you trust that can go there for you and have a look at the property, right? Now you look at the property, you find the property that you like, you're like, I like this one, and you feel that you can afford it, etc. Now it's time to do some signing. It's time to commit. And when you're signing, guys, the key words here are never sign anything that you don't understand. There are people along your whole journey that can help you understand certain things about the process. Your bond originator, for example. Information on the internet, here and chat with Tessa. Okay, so stay for the rest of the video. You're going to sign the offer to purchase, and I did make a video about the offer to purchase and the mistakes that I made. Okay, please find these clauses, these funny clauses. Okay, so signing your offer to purchase, the offer to purchase, once it's also signed by the seller, you are the purchaser, and then there's going to be the seller, right? Once it's signed by the seller as well, now it is legally binding, okay? And according to the clause in there about how you must find the money, you must go and find it that way. If they said this is a cash transaction because you said you have the cash to buy the property, then they're expecting cash from you, okay? Unless there's just certain things that one must just not even say on YouTube. I was about to say something. Hey, yeah, me and my mom sometimes, the way we would fight about things, like with the other offer to purchase for the property that I ended up not going for. I don't know, my mom went and told this. Mama, don't get mad about this. My mom told this seller that no, or maybe let me say this because I still don't have 100% the truth about what happened there. She says that they misunderstood her. But me knowing my own mother. Anyway, I read this offer to purchase, and there it's saying that 50% of the purchase price of that property is gonna come from me, and then the other 50% will come from a home loan. And I was like, who said I have that type of money? I was so annoyed. I was like, who said I have that type of money? I was like, because I work abroad, do you think I just have this type of money laying around? Do you think, where would we find this money? Anyway, when I spoke to my mom about it, she said that there was a misunderstanding. But I'm like, I've heard this story before. But anyway, love you, mama. So please read the offer to purchase and be sure about what has been stated about you acquiring the funds to purchase this property. If it's a bank home loan, let it be that. If it's cash, make sure you have this cash, because it's a legally binding document. And I'm not going to go back into what you should look out for and all of that with your offer to purchase, because I had a whole video on that, and you can watch that a little later. But that's the first thing that's legally binding, the offer to purchase, okay, that you're going to be signing. And once the seller also signs, please, they can sue you when you decide, oh no, I don't want this house anymore, I actually don't want this one anymore, I saw something better. There's always something better. So please, when you're looking, be sure that that's what you actually want, okay? And sign knowing that you're gonna stick to this whole process, okay? Because you can be sued for losses and etc. Right, next step. Your bond originator then goes and finds you the best deal with the bank. They're gonna need that signed offer to purchase, because that's what you need to include in your application. Actually, I even stacked my documents. I even stacked them in order. So, okay, here is the first offer to purchase I ever signed in my life, okay? This is the offer to purchase that had that funny clause about me having 50% of the money cash and then the other 50 coming from the bank. And I was like, no, mommy, I didn't say this. I didn't say this. So no, I didn't sign it. But actually, going back to the seller, they did amend that. They changed it. They're like, oh, okay, so the full amount will come from a home loan. But then still, hey, good riddance. And then this is my first ever home loan application. So the application form is about 7 pages. And now when you're filling out your application form, is there anything at the back? When you are filling out your application form, please guys, take your time. Like, take your time. It took me so many hours to sit with this application form to ensure that I understood what they meant. Even if you need to ask your bond originator about what is meant by, for example, on the application form here, they said applicant type. Okay, that one was obvious, like individual, company, multiple, close corporation, whatever. What was confusing for me was there was something on here that was confusing. But if you find something that's confusing in your application form, just ask, okay? There's parts on the application form where you have to fill out your financial information. Be honest, okay? Because they're also going to be looking at your bank statements. Be honest there. Make sure everything, like even the loan term, right? And then on this application form particularly, they said maximum 20 years. So I could only write something between, I don't know, 1 year and 20 years. So I wrote the term. I chose my own term. So now if you understate the term, maybe that might affect your application. And overstating, I don't think is a problem, because you don't have to stick to those amount of years. So in the application form, for example, with this one, I had written 10 years, because I knew that because I didn't ask for so much money from the bank, I wouldn't need 10 years per se. I would maybe need half that time. But things change, things happen in life, you never know. So overstating the years is not a bad thing, but understating, and you're like, yo, I said 5 years, now life emergencies happen, and then you don't know how you're gonna pay it up in that amount of time. They will also assess, like, can this person really pay it off in 5 years, you know? So overstating the years, I don't think is an issue. But yeah, some banks maybe will say up to 30 years, but I knew that 20 years is not something that I needed. But yeah, overstating does not have negative effects, because if you pay it up quicker, then you paid it up quicker. That's it. Like I did. Okay? Maybe if I understated, like for example, with my first property, I paid it up in 17 months, right? So maybe if I had written there 17 months, the bank was gonna be like, no, we're not gonna make any money out of this one. We're not taking this application. Why? So I wrote 10 years. Yeah. So anything that you don't understand, if something does not apply to you, I was crossing it out to make sure nothing gets filled in there. And initialing every page and signing correctly, right? So after your offer to purchase, because you're gonna need to send the offer to purchase to the bank with your bank application, okay? And if the bond originator is helping you to apply at different banks, then that means that they are going to be the ones that then send out that offer to purchase, signed offer to purchase, and send out your applications to different banks. I think you would probably fill in one application form unless things change, but anything that's required of you, just be patient and sign those papers. The next thing would be the trailer. The trailer is the quotation. The approval in principle. Oh, I didn't print it out because it wasn't anything that I needed to sign. So maybe that's why I actually didn't print it out. So the next thing you're going to get from the bank is the approval in principle. The approval in principle does not mean that your bond has been officially approved. It just gives, I call it the trailer because it gives you an idea of like, what are you expecting to pay on a monthly basis? What would be your interest? What's the total amount that the bank has approved? Because sometimes they don't approve the whole home loan. So you'll see that in the approval in principle, you don't have to sign anything, but I think maybe you'd need to respond about like, do you approve? Do you feel like this is an offer you could take? And right after receiving the approval in principle, the bank will then send out someone to go and evaluate the property to assess, is it really worth the amount that it's being sold for? Does this property even exist? What does it look like? What condition is it in, etc.? They have their own criteria as to what they look at when they go and evaluate the property. You don't have to be there. The only thing you need to make sure of is that in your application form, you have provided contact details of the seller or the agent or somebody that can be contacted, so that when the bank sends out somebody to go and evaluate the property, they're able to make a call and arrange a convenient time to go and evaluate the property, right? So after they evaluate the property and everything is all good and well, they'll then send you the quotation. It will look similar to the approval in principle, but the quotation is more lengthy. Whole 16 pages. It's more lengthy and it has a whole lot of other things that it's covering in there. Expect to see your name, your home address, your consultant's name, their phone number, your ID number, your reference number, your bond reference number, and it might stay like that throughout your whole purchasing process. And a whole lot of other information inside the quotation that I think is very important for you to read through. Take your time and read through it, okay? You have to sign the quotation. The quotation is only valid for 5 working days. Yes, and if there's anything you want to query in those 5 working days, query it, okay? Because once you've signed the quotation, the bank will most likely not change their mind about what they are offering you. Okay, sign your bank quotation and then send it back to them because they do need you to sign it. Okay, now this up to now, this is the part where you have been the most active. You looked for the property, you got your bond originator, you signed an offer to purchase, you filled in a bank application form, you signed your final quotation from the bank because you feel like it's a fair offer from the bank and you're okay with it, and you've signed now. Okay, now you kind of are in the background a bit now because the lawyers take over. Which lawyers take over? 3 or 2 types of lawyers. First, you'll have the bond cancellation attorneys. Then you'll have the transferring or conveyancing attorneys. If you see that word conveyancing or transfer attorneys, just know what it means, the same thing. Okay, and then you'll have the bond registration attorneys, right? So for example, if the seller, the people you're buying the property from, still had a bond going on, bond with the bank on that property, then the bond cancellation attorney would then process that cancellation. This has nothing to do with you, and you don't have to pay these attorneys. The attorneys though that you pay for, and I got a shock of my life when I heard about that. The 2 lawyers that you're gonna pay for are the transferring or conveyancing attorneys and the bond registration attorneys. So you're gonna get 2 different invoices. And I never expected it. I did not expect that. I even had to ask my mom, I'm like, why must I pay these people? Why, and why so much money? So that's actually another expense that you need to budget for. Depending on the property that you're actually buying, you might have to pay more or less. Okay, the more expensive your property is, the more you're going to pay or expect to pay. And some of these property websites, they do have these calculators, and you're able to sort of see an estimate of what you expect to pay. And actually you can talk about this with your bond originator because they have so much experience. They can sort of give you an idea of like what expenses you can expect with the transferring attorneys and the bond registration attorneys. Okay, the seller doesn't pay for those attorneys, it's you who pays. Actually, both of you pay the transferring attorneys because they're providing a service to the seller and providing a service to you as well. So that's why you also have to pay. They are going to send you some documents that you will need to sign and send. FICA documents that you're going to need to sign and send. Send us your ID again. Send us this again. Send us that again. Don't complicate the process. No matter how annoying it is, just send those documents that they need, sign and send. But before you sign anything that they're sending you, just read through it, then initial, sign, and send it back, okay? Because if you delay on your end, then remember, they're not only working on your property, okay? That's one thing I also had to kind of like manage because I am abroad. There's a whole time difference, 6 hours between China and South Africa, and I needed to be on it, signing at night, sending it so they get it by the time they wake up in the morning, okay? The other part is signing these very important documents. The rest of the stash are documents that you will need to sign that will be lodged at the deeds office, okay? So once again, you just need to sign. The attorneys will do all the things that need to be done. That's like the last step, them lodging all these documents at the deeds office, and they have to be signed accurately. Because if they are not signed accurately, they will be rejected at the deeds office, and it will further delay your home purchasing process, okay? They'll have to say, oh, this document wasn't initialed. Now they have to come back to you again. So just sign appropriately. So because it was my first time, and because they had to email me the documents, then I printed them, then I traveled to the embassy, got them signed at the embassy, then sent them back to South Africa. I needed to be sure that what I am signing is 100% correct, because there's no ways that now we're going to be sending documents again back to South Africa. I was lucky the first time. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for traveling with my documents to South Africa. I'll always remember that. That was my first property, and you helped me so much, and that saved me money. But now, second time around, I don't think I have anybody that's going to help me. And even at the embassy, I don't even know I'm going to make it there. See these things that can delay your process. I don't know what in South Africa can really delay you. But I have to go to the embassy again to go and sign another stash again and get it stamped and signed and have witnesses, etc. And like I said, I'm stuck in quarantine in a way. It's like we're quarantined here. So how am I going to get to the embassy and send these documents to South Africa? So can you see how my process has been taking months? So it's going to need you to be patient. So what I had my transferring attorneys do is that they literally wrote it down for me on the paper with here, initial, here, initial, here, sign like this, here, Usman Bani must sign, here, do this, do this, do that. And yeah, they did that, and they sent me everything. And before sending it back to them, I made sure lots of affidavits here to be signed. Affidavit, debit order authorization, home loan flexi option, addendum to the original agreement, your home loan agreement with the bank, similar to what your bank quotation would look like. Request to substitute insurance cover with regards to homeowners comprehensive insurance, nomination and authority granted in terms of section what here, comprehensive insurance, addendum to the condition of sale. Oh, that wasn't part of the thing. I needed to sign. That was my addendum. Okay, authority to invest money. Oh yes, these two things were actually not part of this stash. I'll tell you about these two now. Deeds of a lot of things needed to be signed, but it's important that they get signed accurately and sent back. And I think if you are in South Africa and you live close to the attorney's offices, you can sign these at their offices, and then they'll lodge the documents for sure. Now, the addendum to the condition of sale and the authority to invest trust money, these two, the transferring attorneys sent me these documents because number one, we had to change something in the offer to purchase because I didn't have the bank's approval on time, and I was like, can you guys just give me more time, please? So anything that gets adjusted, there must be something that is drafted and signed by the lawyers, you and the seller, etc. So they had to put it in writing that I was asking for more time. Okay, this was the addendum. Then when I sent them the balance, because with the first property I paid a portion, a huge chunk of the sale price, and then the bank paid the other amount. So then I had to then transfer the balance, right, to the attorneys, and then the attorneys will put that money into a trust. And even before you transfer, was it before or after, there's this document that needs to be signed. So you don't just transfer money and nothing gets signed. You transfer money, you sign things. Okay, so I know it sounds complicated, but actually the process just needs you to be A, patient, B, be available to sign anything that you need to sign, and C, ask. Just ask if you don't understand something. Okay. Anything else that I wrote? Actually, if it's a actually, if it's a cash purchase, hey, everything is so much simpler. So, but I would not say anyone who has the cash to purchase property now go and purchase property cash. Use credit wisely. Use that money for something else. Get the bank to help you buy your property. I think in total, you can expect that the process would take about 3 months if, things are kind of smooth. If there are any hiccups, maybe 5 months. In my case, it's taking a very long time. But anyway, I hope that you found this simplification of the process comforting and useful, because I know you'll purchase your first property or your second or your third, and you're gonna go in there confident, knowing what the process entails. You're like, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, I know this, and I'm gonna ask questions, and before signing I will read all the things that I need to read. So leave your questions down below in the comment section. Share anything that you maybe experienced that I didn't mention in this video. We are learning from each other. I'm also learning from you guys. So I read every comment and I respond to every comment as well. So engage in the comment section. And thank you for joining me today, Bo Valentine's. Nithengilwa amablom mar ngo Valentine nitholeni. Anyway, thank you guys. Na cancer. Goodbye.